We're finishing off this series with the best exercises to develop that chiseled six-pack so you can look beach ready any time of the year. Let's get started. In this video series we talked about a lot of exercise variations for each body part, but I don't think I've seen nearly as many different ways to work a muscle than the core and abs. Why did I mention the core in that? Because it's a pretty broad term. The transverse abdominis is the base of the core, quite literally. But does it need training like the other muscles? Are the typical types of core exercises really necessary, and even training the six-pack the way we want it to make them pop? Not really. Most core exercises like planks are isometrics. Isometrics don't do a great job of building the 6 blocks of muscle in our midsection most of us aspire to have. Isometrics don't do a good job at building muscle to begin with. Abs are a muscle just like any other. They need to be stretched under load and require progressive overload to really grow and make them more visible. Obviously, if you have too much body fat, your abs won't show. I can go over this in more detail in a later video if you guys want me to. What do the abs do anyways? The main ab muscle, the rectus abdominis, attaches from our lower pelvis up to our 5th and 7th ribs. As we all know, the rectus abdominis enables us to crunch our abs together, bringing the torso to the legs or vice versa. The obliques are made up of 2 muscles on either side, the external obliques and the internal obliques. The obliques also help to bring our torso to the legs or the legs to our torso, but they also rotate our torso. The left internal oblique and the right external oblique do the same movement, rotating to the left, and the right internal oblique and the left external oblique rotate us to the right. To simplify things, we'll work both sides equally. The obliques also help to crunch the body, so they are already worked when we do a crunch or hanging leg raise. So basically the abs crunch the body, whether that's from the top down or bottom up. Think of a typical crunch versus a hanging leg raise. One thing to consider with ab training is that gravity is always going down. Would you bench press sideways, squat sideways? No. So why would we do ab exercises sideways? Heel taps, scissor kicks, etc. are a waste of time. Sure, you might feel it in your abs, but I'd feel it in my chest if I bench press sideways, but it doesn't mean I'm doing anything effective for it. The abs are no different. For the most part, you want the resistance for your ab exercises to be going up and down, not side to side or rotationally when not against gravity or the line of resistance. Also consider the fact that the abs only contribute to trunk flexion while you are in anterior pelvic tilt. This is a pretty short range of motion. You want to make sure you extend through the lumbar and thoracic spine to effectively lengthen and target the abs for the best growth possible. For example, during a full sit-up, you might feel it in your abs. This is because you're isometrically contracting them during most of the range of motion. Most of the work beyond the posterior pelvic tilt is done by the hip flexors, not the abs. The abs are maintaining that position isometrically, but doing little else throughout the range of motion. Again, since gravity, aka the resistance, is always going down. The most efficient exercises with all these things considered would be any movement that 1, goes up and down against gravity or the line of resistance, and 2, lets us extend our mid-back and low back to stretch them out completely. We also want to be able to progressively overload the abs and make the exercise more difficult as we get stronger. Cable crunches are very effective for the abs and can be supersetted with almost any other cable exercise. Cable crunches allow the thoracic and lumbar spine, or the mid and low back, to extend and fully stretch out the abs under adjustable load, meeting all the requirements for an effective ab exercise. I do my cable crunches with the cable behind me as it pulls me into thoracic and lumbar extension, and then I can concentrically activate the abs most efficiently. If this doesn't feel the most comfortable for you, you can always face the cable machine and do cable crunches this way, as long as you are extending through your mid and upper back to fully lengthen the abs at the ribs. Another variation I like is the lying cable reverse crunch. Now you need some wrist cuff attachments for this exercise, but it can also be supersetted with practically any other cable exercise, whether it's upper body or lower body. Attach both wrist cuff attachments to a cable machine and lower it to the very bottom. Loop your feet through the wrist cuffs and lie on your back, scooting back so you have plenty of room for your legs to come forward under load. Let your low back arch while the weight is pulling your legs toward the cable column, bracing against the ground with your hands, by your sides, or against the top of the glutes. Once your legs are mostly straightened out, reverse the movement by bringing your knees towards your chest and flatten your low back against the ground at the same time. You should feel your abs contract while you do this. Under control, straighten your legs out towards the cable column and slowly let your low back arch. You might feel some low back pain at first, but the more you do this, the more your body will get used to the movement and have no more low back pain. Your low back is very resilient. This won't do any harm to your low back as long as you don't have any pre-existing conditions such as a herniated disc or spondylolisthesis. Big name, look it up. If you haven't heard of it, you most likely don't have it. You can also try this with regular cable handles if you don't have any wrist cuffs. You just have to make sure your feet stay dorsiflexed or the cable handles will slide off and potentially cause some injury with the sudden jerking force. Weighted crunches with your feet anchored are also great and can easily be progressed with weight reps or lengthening the lever arm. Once I hit a solid 10 to 15 reps at a given weight, then I either bump up the weight by 5 to 10 pounds or work on eccentrically lowering myself, placing the weight in front of my body for counterbalance during the crunch itself to make it easier to get up, and then placing it in front of my forehead while slowly lowering under control and really milking the eccentric. The lowering will start off easy and progressively get more challenging the closer you are to the starting position. These can really fry the abs and can be a fun plateau buster. Hanging leg raises are excellent to develop the lower abs, keeping in mind to go into posterior pelvic tilt as you raise your legs up, as this is the most important part. The only downside of this exercise is that the top of the movement is the hardest, and as you get more fatigued, this will be harder to perform. On the flip side, you can easily go from doing this with your legs straight to doing it with your knees bent. You also get the benefits of grip strength, shoulder stability, and lat mobility, and you can easily superset this with a lot of exercises. Squats, any cable exercise, etc. You can also do these underhand for more lat mobility. Another variation of these you can try as a lying version, as these will now be easiest at the top of the movement and hardest at the bottom. Like earlier in the series, this makes for the perfect exercise. These are much easier to do weighted, but I advise doing them with a dumbbell instead of a weight plate. The dumbbell is more forgiving and easier to handle than a weight plate, given that it has more surface area on the side to keep it from sliding at the top and causing an unfortunate accident. You can do them on a bench or floor, making them very versatile. Progression includes reps, weights, sets, or even the dragon flags, which are killer. Just make sure to really control the eccentric portion of the movement and to let your low back arch to get full lengthening of the rectus abdominis. The plank up is also one of my favorites, as you can easily progress with weight or lengthening the lever arm or arms more out in front to make it harder, and are also versatile, since you can pretty much do these anywhere and superset almost any exercise, as long as it doesn't interfere with the performance of that supersetted exercise. Make sure to really squeeze the abs and go into that posterior pelvic tilt as you come up to the top of the movement and lower under control, going into the anterior pelvic tilt where you get a good stretch on the abs at the bottom of the movement. Remember, the eccentric part of the exercise where you lower and stretch the muscle under control is the most important for building muscle. I program my ab work for 2 to 4 sets at 10 to 20 reps, lowering the rest for lying leg raises and dragon flags since these are more technical than the others. Progressive overload is key and steadily increasing reps week by week, usually one at a time. For example, in week 1 of a training block, I'll do lying leg raises for 3 sets of 5, so 5-5-5. Week 2, I'll do 6-5-5. Week 3, I'll do 6-6-5, and so on. Once I am able to do 6-6-6 in week 4, I'll do 7-6-6 for week 5 and progress until I can do 8 reps with a given weight for all 3 sets. Then I'll increase the weight by 5 to 10 pounds and repeat starting again at 3 sets of 5 reps. The tricky thing is where to place ab work throughout the week. It's not as simple as biceps, where you would do bicep exercises on your pull days, since rows, pull downs, and pull ups use the biceps. Obviously, you wouldn't work on your biceps on a leg day. With this in mind, it really is up to personal preference where you decide to do your ab work. I find doing ab work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday works best for me. This gives them time to recover, and since most ab exercises are versatile and can be supersetted with almost any exercise, I can pick and choose which exercises to superset with on any given day. If it's a push day, I might superset lying leg raises with a barbell bench press. Leg days might get the plank ups tacked onto RDLs, and pull days might get cable crunches paired with single arm cable reverse flies. Once you get more advanced, you can do 2 ab exercises on the same day, alternating between torso to leg movements and leg to torso movements, 3 sets in one and 2 sets in the other. Once you plateau doing that, you can then spread out your volume throughout the week. This would look like going from 5 sets of ab work on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, each to doing 4 sets of ab work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and tacking on 1 or 2 sets on any given day every other week. Now, I don't think you need to go that far with it, but it is an option for the most advanced out there that really want to make those abs pop. One other exercise I've been playing around with lately has been the side crunch on the back extension machine. I saw this from a video Eugene Teo did, and since then my obliques have been really making a show. This gives not only the obliques a good stretch, but also the glute medius, further stretching our lateral hip stabilizing muscles. I top these anywhere from 5 to 10 reps for 2 to 3 sets. Don't be fooled, this can really kick your butt. Start off easy with them and progress with raising your arms further over your head or with 5 or 10 pounds at a time. Well, that wraps up this series of the most effective exercises in the gym that give you the most gains in the shortest amount of time possible. This video is actually very fun to do. I've been really enjoying ab training lately, especially when going on a fat loss phase. If you want me to go into a deeper dive into ab training, let me know in the comments below. Also, what did you enjoy and not enjoy about this video? I'd really like to know your honest opinions. This helps me to make the best videos possible for you. Your time is very valuable and I want to treat it as such. If you like this video, please click that like button. It makes sense and it helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys here in the next video.